We got a pretty good clip of, and, you know, I have almost since the beginning of this program, I've had my issues with Andrew Ross Sorkin. I mean, certainly back in like the around the Occupy days, I remember critiquing a lot of what he had to say on television. But I appreciated this. I mean, look, the whole financial television world is in many respects, I mean, how would, I don't know how to phrase this. It's the whole thing is sort of, there's a certain rancid quality to all of it, right? I mean, and not necessarily like, look, I don't begrudge anybody whatever kind of TV they want to watch or their hobbies or, you know, how to make more money or whatever it is. But because it's geared towards such a small sector of our society, and I'm saying this like literally, I mean, Fox Business, I think they may have less people watch their program on a given day, you know, at noon than watch this one. I think that's actually possible. But all the people who do, they're constantly in the market for a new, I don't know, whatever the car is, you know, fancy car or whatever it is. And that's what CNBC does too. Their market, they drive their ad revenue not on the number of people who are watching, but on the incomes of the people who are watching. And so it's very much programming that is oriented toward these people. The people who host these shows are of that ilk, and their whole value system is a function of that. But it's nice occasionally to see at least some semblance of recognition of like that human beings are not just what did that libertarian say the other day? Like, or the accountant from the White House, like human capital or something to the, I don't know.
Human capital stock.
Human capital stock. Here is Andrew Ross Sorkin. We show this exchange with that really odious Joe Kernen. And they have just like gone back and forth with a little bit with the news. And then I guess like, you know, there's a little tension there because Sorkin has been too PC, as the president would say, because he's apparently, you know, encourages people to wear masks or something.
What will you tell us about what's happening
Still
right now?
Still looking at the coincident and lagging indicator. Let's see. For a while, it was how can stocks be where they are because of oil prices? Remember, that was your take then.
Right.
How can it be based on where interest rates are right now? Then it could be how can stocks be? Right. And then it was every single discussion you have over the weekend is about how can stock prices be here when the economy is here. Right. Now it's going to be your earnings. But can you see how that probably isn't the coincidence, the stuff Joe. Right in your face? We're going to have David Lebovitz on. He's going to say every client he talks to is asking him, how can the stock market be here when everything else is...
And that's the question.
Pause it for 1 second.
And there are a lot of smart people...
Listen, we know the answer. It's because they've poured trillions of dollars into this sector to prop it all up. And they just haven't done the same on the fiscal side. I mean, I don't know why they're, maybe it's like, it's partly because it's like, this is their religion. And they don't want to get on television and say like, oh, incidentally, like, you know, whatever, I don't know. He didn't really resurrect 3 days later, or they didn't really part the Red Sea, or, you know, the Easter Bunny isn't real. Nobody wants to say that. Make themselves feel bad and realize that all of their expertise is really just a function of how much money is being pumped into it. Good.
Have that view. You may not have that view.
Why is that the smart people? They've been wrong for 35%. Why are they smart? Just because they can see what's right in front of their nose? That doesn't make them smart. It makes them.
Joe, you missed it on the way down too.
Makes them not savvy about the market.
Joe, you missed it. Joe. You missed it 100% on the way down, and you missed the 100,000 deaths. So we can have this debate back and forth, and you can try to question the questions I'm asking. But there are smart people, including your friend Stan Druckenmiller, who's argued that the market has been over. Hold on. I'm not going to do this with you, Joe. Every morning you try to question the questions I'm asking. These are questions that investors are asking every single morning. I am just trying to get through some of this clutter. I may be right. I may be wrong. Investors may be right. They may be wrong. That's what makes a market. But it doesn't make people a good person or a bad person. It doesn't make it right to act the way you are. I'm sorry.
Okay. You yelled at the poor guy about the guy yesterday with masks. Is like, why are you yelling at me now? I'm not, Joe. You just yelled again. I don't know. I'm just trying to. Go ahead. I'm sorry?
No, you're not. No, you're not, Joe. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead with the news.
You panicked about the market, panicked about COVID, panicked about the ventilators, panicked about the PPE, panicked about ever going out again, panicked that we'd ever get back to normal.
Joseph, you didn't panic about anything.
What good is it? Why not help people keep their head? I understand that.
100,000 people died, Joe, and all you did was try to help your friend, the president. That's what you did. Every single morning on this show. Every single morning on this show, you have used and abused your position, Joe.
That's totally unfair.
You have used and abused your position.
I'm trying to help investors keep their cool, keep their heads, and as it turned out, that's what they should have done. That's what they should have done. They should have kept their heads. If they had listened to you, Andrew, we're supposed to be at about 8,000.
I wasn't arguing to go sell your stocks, Joseph. I was arguing about people's lives.
We understand.
People's lives.
Andrew, it's a global pandemic.
Do the news. I'm begging you to do the news, Joseph.
It's a global pandemic.
I'm begging you.
Andy,
please.
It's a global pandemic, Andy, where per capita deaths, we're down near the low end of per capita deaths. We're nowhere near per 100,000. Most places are at 60 deaths per 100,000. We're at 29. So it's terrible that we've lost 100,000 lives. It's terrible. But it was never going to be that we weren't going to come back and that we weren't going to return to normal. And, siding with Ackman and everything else that, giving credence to all that panic didn't help any investors at all or people with their anxiety and everything else. So that's why we're here, to try and navigate people through, not trying to help Donald Trump. Anyway, let's look at Tesla. News.
There you go. Let's look at Tesla. The complete, I guess I think it's willful ignorance on this part of this guy to sort of recognize that the anxiety in the form of, trying to convince people that this is real enough that you should go out and wear a mask if you go out, when you go out. The anxiety in terms of and what's also sort of shocking is this guy's talking like he's done some type of big public service to maintain the calm of investors. Meanwhile, there's 30 some odd million people without jobs. There are people who are worried about their unemployment benefits running out in a month and a half. People don't have health insurance. You've got frontline workers who have been devastated by this because of the failure of securing PPE. All of that is just sort of secondary to the fact that we salvaged the market, which of course was just a function of the Fed pumping trillions of dollars into it with, $500 billion worth of collateral from Congress. But there it is. Nice to see Andrew Ross Sorkin have a moment of humanity. I don't watch the show enough to know if he's more human like that, but relative to that guy, that Joe Kernen guy, it's nice to see at least just a little slight splash of that. Meanwhile.